Hello everybody on YouTube. This is Kristen. I just thought I would leave a little message for people that have checked in on my website, and I found out interesting things this week. Like, I can actually dial the phone with my boob. I was visiting my mother-in-law that's in a rehab center, and I had on one of my guy shirts, and when I sat down I heard the phone like it was dialing, and it dialed my spouse's phone number, and she picked up the phone and she said, "Hi, what's going on?" I said, "I'm just visiting your mom." And she said, "Oh, how is she?" I said, "She's fine." She said, "Is there any reason you called?" I said, "No, my fancy dancy phone with the really pretty screen decided that inside my shirt I would call you." So I just came back from visiting my mother-in-law, so I wore another big shirt. So these wouldn't show. Brother. Anyway, so Thursday I ran to the store to get her some more snacks before I left. And I ran back to the rehab center, and unbeknownst to me, I mean, I knew that she was in physical therapy at the time that I left. Well, when I came back, I told the nurses that I'd filled her little refrigerator back up and didn't think anything about it. Well, one of the nurses wanted her to know that I had filled up the little refrigerator, with her yogurts and pudding and applesauce with strawberries in it. And she told her, "You have the nicest daughter-in-law. I mean, she's up here almost every day. She takes care of you so good. You're really blessed to have a daughter-in-law like that." And she looked at her and said, "That's not my daughter-in-law. That's my son-in-law that's married to my daughter. And we've been married for 15 years. Well, unbeknownst to me, that night, her son calls every night. He's working in New England right now. He's a welder. And he called, and in their conversation was, "Did you know Chris has boobs? They're really big." I said, "Thank you." And his voice is changing. I think Chris is trying to become a girl. And the next day, when I went up to visit, I had a message on my phone from my sister-in-law telling me it was really important that I called her. So I called her when I got back up into my mother-in-law's room. I step out in the hallway and she said, "I have to tell you something, and I want you to know up front." She said, "Tony is really pissed." I was going like, what the heck is he pissed over? And she said, "Fern noticed that you have large breasts, and she's noticed that your voice has changed. I used to have a really deep, manly voice. So I was about to cry in the hallway, composed myself, went in, spent about 40 or 50 minutes with her, went back out as she left to go to physical therapy, and the director of the nursing home was in her office, which I know her, Jan, And I went and told her, and she knew that, I'm transgender, and that, you know, I said, I think there's some people up here that think that I am her daughter-in-law, but somebody mentioned it to her, and it sort of upset her. She's 88, and we're trying to keep all this from her, which is getting harder and harder to keep all this from her. So I told her, and she grabbed the assistant nursing director, and I talked to Christy about it and told her, that I'm transgender and all this stuff, and that, I try to hide stuff from my mother-in-law. I don't want her to ever get upset because I love her like, she is my mom. Anyway, I told her about me, and it was sort of a cosmic thing. She said, basically she was like, oh my God. And I was going like, I'm sorry if I upset you. She said, no. I have a nephew that lives with me that's 16 that I'm pretty sure that he's transgender. And, he's wore bustier to school. And he gets picked on all the time for being really feminine. So, I remember those days. Anyway, I would have loved if my parents would have said at 16, you could start transitioning. I would have jumped up and down. But anyway, so I went home, brought back a card from my counselor, gender counselor in Indy, and a bunch of information that I downloaded off the internet on Klinefelter syndrome and on transgender and different things that I thought would be helpful to her. And she was really grateful, and I gave her my name and number and stuff, and she asked, would it be okay if we call you and let my nephew talk to you? And I said, sure, she can talk to me anytime. And she sort of looked at me like, yeah, okay, because she acts like a she all the time. I said, it isn't going to get any better, let me tell you. Between the two of us, if you walk in my bathroom, you would look at my side of the bathroom and probably think it's my wife's, because I have more hair care products, more female products than she does. So it was quite comical. And then the next day, Saturday, I went to Indy Girls over in Indy. It's a transgender group for trans women and trans men. And by the way, they love my hat. It says Binford Tools. Real men don't need instructions. Yes, I was a tool guy. I still, part-time work on motorcycles and do some welding on the side. So, anyway, they wanted my hat bad, but I had a good meeting, came from my meeting, pretty much dressed sort of like I am right now, and went to dinner with my wife after the meeting, and we were sitting there talking, like, people do while they're waiting for a waiter or waitress to show up. So, we're sitting there, and the first thing out of this lady's mouth is, ladies, how can I help you? And I said, I'll have a unsweetened iced tea, and my wife said a water and stuff. So we're sitting there, and she's going like, I don't know if I like that she thinks you're female. And I wasn't wearing any makeup. I don't really have that much of a beard anymore. So, I have really soft, fair skin. And, okay, these things were sort of like they are now. And so I pretty much gave her the hint that it was two females there, Cracker Barrel. Anyway, we sat there, we ate, they brought us our dinner, and they asked, whose is whose? And she looked at the waitress and said, that's his meal. And she looked the funniest look at me. It's like, that's his meal. And that was just my male black lab hopping up on the couch. Yes, my dogs are spoiled rotten. There's a brother and a sister. But like most males, he isn't too bright. So, she just sort of looked and kept looking, and in my own way, I was chuckling inside, and I told my wife, I said, you really don't have to tell them what gender I am, just tell them it's theirs, or that, you had the chicken and dumplings and I had the roast beef. Anyway, I said, you don't have to throw gender into it. But it was a pretty good weekend. For people that think that you lose your sex drive, actually on estrogen and progesterone and sperm-lactin, I'm actually pretty frisky. And that doesn't get the way it used to, but there's ways, there's a thing on it just like a clitoris, and it works pretty much the same, especially if somebody's happens to be rubbing on it and sucking on your tits. It just is a whole lot better. I have an orgasm now, and it's like, oh my god. The ones that I had when I was a male are like minuscule. These last a lot longer, and they're a whole lot stronger. So, if this is the prelude to what a woman naturally has as an orgasm, I'm all for it. And try to do it as much as humanly possible. So, I want everybody to have a great week. Remember, here in Indiana, it's cold, but our hearts are warm. And you have a great day and a great weekend. Love you from the state of Indiana. This is Kristen, out.